Welcome to the TMRN Time Monk Radio Network. I'm Gemini, and today is Saturday, the 1st of October, 2011. We are delighted to spend an evening with John Lash, a Maine Turton, joining us from Belgium. John takes us on a journey through the ancient wisdom of Sophia and her correction as she awakens and remembers. John's website is www.metahistory.org. Hello, John. Welcome to the WebBot Forum Roundtable.
Hello there. Great to be back with you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. The WebBot Forum administrator and producer of the show is Fox, and he will be doing the recording and technical support of the show. Several members of the forum were kind enough to join us this evening. Please welcome members Lolly, Green Meadow, Suzanne Toro, and Uranus Rising. For our listeners, this interview will assume you have a fairly good understanding of John's work. John has links to his books, numerous writings, and decades of research at his website, metahistory.org. This interview will be available on YouTube and for free on the WebBot Forum channel and at the website webbotforum.com. John, are you comfortable and ready for the interview?
I certainly am.
Well, the first question will be from Green Meadow.
Hi, John. We have a number of apogee and perigee surges since March 19th of this year. I'm not sure if I pronounced those correctly. It sounds like Sophia has been using the timing of these surges to produce intentional energy hits that affect people and the planet. Could you describe what the different energies of each surge has been?
Certainly. The concept of the apogee and the perigee surges is a little elaboration on astronomy. Basically, the apogee and perigee of the moon are just 2 points in the orbit of the moon. So we're talking pure astronomy there. But the idea that when the moon passes through these points, that there is some kind of surge in the energy body of the Earth, to which human beings could respond. Well, that is an extrapolation of the astronomical data, of course. And I'm making that extrapolation now, and I'm proposing that we consider this possibility in an experimental sense. So I'm not saying that I know something that other people don't know. I'm saying let's get together in an experiment and see if we can verify this firsthand for ourselves. The apogee is the point in the moon's orbit when it's most distant from the Earth, the perigee when it's closest to the Earth. And once each month, the moon passes through those points. At that moment, something happens in the energy body of the Earth, which is actually the embodiment of the divine Sophia, according to the Gnostic teachings of the mystery schools. I have proposed this experiment with Sophia because all of my research and all of my understanding of the esoteric wisdom has led me to believe that this moment in history is really unique, that we have a fantastic opportunity right now to enter into an interaction with the Earth that has never existed before in this same form. So in that respect, I've been suggesting to people to pay attention to these moments, which can be found from an astronomical calendar. What you're asking me, what actually happens at these moments? Well, it's quite simple, really. If we consider that the Earth is a living entity, the Gnostics called her the Aeon Sophia. We call her Gaia, so I use the term Gaia Sophia. If we consider that Gaia Sophia is a living entity, a vast superorganism, or a planetary animal, as you might say, then we can also consider interacting with this organism, just like we would interact with any other animal. And its behavior is characterized by two extremes, which are the points where we can engage with the superorganism of the Earth. Two extreme moments. It's a rhythmic activity that goes on through each month. Just like we have a rhythmic activity of breathing in and breathing out, you could say that the Earth organism, the superorganism of the planet, has a rhythmic activity of the apogee and the perigee moments. And what happens at each of these moments is quite particular. The wisdom goddess, the divine Sophia, is involved in her own psychic and emotional life, in her own consciousness, in achieving two things right now. She's achieving two activities, and she's focusing on these activities. I'm talking now about the actual inner subjective activity of the consciousness of the Earth, what she is doing, what the planet is doing. One emphasis is that she is remembering or recapitulating her entire story, going back to the origin of this planet, and even going back before that to the moment when she was in the pleroma, in the galactic center, as the mystery school's teachings explain. And she conceived an experiment for the human species. Sophia herself is now recalling and remembering the whole process that brought her here to this moment of being the Earth, and taking it in her divine memory process back to the origin of the experiment we are undergoing on this planet. This is a fantastically sublime event, and yet it is within the reach of human consciousness as well. So what happens at the apogee surges is that Sophia has a moment of intense recollection, intense self-recollection. And if the experiment is set up in the proper way, as I'm attempting to do as the navigator, I'm calling myself, of this experiment, then we can anticipate what she is going to remember, and we can try to observe ourselves and observe the world around us and see if we can verify this imaginative event, a real event, but something that we need to use our imaginations to understand, if we can verify it through our experience. At the perigee surge, the divine Sophia is doing something else. She's delivering each month a kind of jolt to humanity. So she's not only going into her own past and remembering how she got here into this situation with us, but she's also using her power of anoia, which is intention, to produce a mutation of the human species. And that mutation, the purpose of that mutation now, which has many aspects, many levels, is to bring us back into alignment with the original purposes of the experiment that she set up for us. So if I am explaining this correctly, you will be able to see immediately that there's a kind of harmony and a balance between the apogee and the perigee, that is, between divine memory and divine alchemy. The divine alchemy is the epigenetic transmutation of the human species, which we are now undergoing in the correction of the wisdom goddess. And so these two rhythms and these two events occur periodically throughout each month. And I'm experimenting with a group of people to see how and to what degree we can detect these events and participate in them.
Yeah, the image that's almost coming to mind is a square dance where you get called out certain steps. and it's like I want to dance with her, and I want to know what steps to dance with her, you know?
I really like that analogy. In fact, it's very accurate. And she is calling us out. She is inviting us into this momentous process of her correction. We are the central actors in the divine experiment that she conceived in the pleroma. And that was even before the earth came into existence. And there are ways to understand the steps to take. It's not complicated. It's simple. It involves largely a process of anticipation. You need to have the syntax provided to you beforehand in order to catch what she's doing. And I can provide that syntax by plotting the way that the apogee and the perigee of the moon move through the zodiacal constellations. So my job as a navigator is to observe those movements, which are perfectly astronomical, and convert them into an imaginative syntax. And then with that imaginative syntax, you know when to step into the dance, and you know what dance moves to make.
Thank you. So my next question, are you complete there?
Yes, that's
Okay.
fine. Yes, you're welcome.
My next question is it sounds like the journey of the correction is from March 2011 to March 2014. Does the correction end there? What's our destination physically, spiritually, mentally? And what will this new location in the solar system accomplish or serve?
Well, correction proceeds in a framework of 3 years from March 2011 to March 2014, but that is only for setting up the initial conditions of correction. The initial conditions are very important. And once the initial conditions are set up, which will be done by the spring of 2014, then correction will proceed as an ongoing process. What correction means, it can be discussed from many angles, but what the correction of the divine Sophia means in astronomical terms is that the Earth, as a free-floating planetary body, liberates itself from the celestial mechanics of the solar system. It doesn't necessarily leave the solar system, but it liberates itself from the dominant mechanics of the solar system, which is an archontic or inorganic system, an inorganic matrix. Sophia, in her correction, is freeing herself from this planetary matrix. And although I would guess that it's very most probable that she will continue to move through the spiral arms of the galaxy, navigating like a ship through the spiral arms, along with the rest of the solar system, she will do so primarily under her own propulsion and under particular conditions which she herself will determine. So we're looking at a fantastic opportunity here to be present to the Earth at the moment when the planet actually achieves self-direction and self-propulsion, freeing it from the archontic matrix of the other planets. And the initial conditions for her journey will be set in 3 years of human time. But then correction will proceed. It's a long journey. How many times is the Earth and the Sun and the solar system going to go around the spiral arms of the galaxy before the galaxy dissolves back into a perfect uniform pool of plasmic light with no planets in it whatsoever, or before the galaxy reaches its end, whatever that is? So I say that correction is the beginning of the journey of living eternity. And really, as far as human beings are concerned, after correction, after the initial conditions are set, it's a journey in eternity, but it's in a living eternity.